Good afternoon, everyone. This is Megan over at New Hampshire Federal Credit Union Center for Finance and Education. And today we are going to be talking about getting out of the paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. And if this phrase resonates with you, if you're going, oh my gosh, that's me, I feel like we get paid, money goes in, money goes out. Know that you're not alone. Know that the majority of people in the United States live paycheck to paycheck. For all those folks that you and I might know that have lots of money and always seem to have the nice things and stuff like that, just know that even some of them, quite frankly, a lot of them can't afford some of the stuff they have and the stuff that they do. And also know that, again, there's way more folks in this world that are really struggling to get through. So today we're going to be talking through getting out of the paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. And what's really important before I get started with this to bring up is that this is all about making a change. If what you're doing now isn't working, it's all about changing it to make it work better. It's kind of like trying to lose weight. Like if I don't work out and I eat junk, I can want to lose weight all I want. It's not happening. So know that going into this, there is hope, there is life at the other end of the tunnel. This can be done. It can be accomplished. I am living proof of that. And also know that, again, it is going to require some change in behavior and work on your part. So I wanted first and foremost to talk to you a little bit about the Center for Finance and Education. That is where I work. That is what is bringing you this webinar here this afternoon. And know that we are here to help. We're here to help people get to where they want to be. So we do offer one-on-one financial coaching. We also will go to your work, your group, your school, whatever it is, and we'll teach free financial webinars or in-person classes, whether the topic is getting out of the paycheck to paycheck lifestyle, or saving to buy a home buying, buying a car, getting your credit score in order, things like that. These are all the different categories that we will cover either in-person classes or webinars, and that also can be done in one-on-one financial coaching with us. And the one-on-one financial coaching with us can absolutely be done via phone or Zoom. All right, so I mentioned when I first got started here that this is going to require a change. It's going to require probably a series of changes and some thoughts for you. But what I always want everyone to remember is that a goal without a plan is just a wish, and plans turn goals to plan. If you have a plan, it then turns your goal into a plan. I know it sounds a little odd to say that. You can see my graphic and kind of get where I'm going with it. Without a plan, it's just a wish. It's a good wish, but it's just a wish. So by participating in this webinar here tonight, you are taking the first step to making some changes. And again, if you want to speak with us one-on-one for coaching, give us a call at any time. We're at 603-224-7731, extension 330. So what does living paycheck to paycheck mean? To me, it means this. You work, or you get the funds somehow. You pay bills, and hopefully you pay some of them, or most of them, or not a lot of them. Maybe you pay half of some of them, whatever it is you do. But essentially, all your money seems to be going to bills, and they don't even seem to be getting paid. And you might not have money to put in savings. You might not have money left over to do things you want to do, maybe things for yourself. Go to get a haircut now and again, get your nails done, things you want to do for your kids, places you want to bring them, things you want to buy them, sports you want them to be in, things like that. It also might mean you might have credit card debt, past due debts. You might be behind on your cable bill or your electric bill. It also could mean that you have some collection accounts. And again, these are all part of what a lot of people that are living, unfortunately, paycheck to paycheck experience. So where we're going to get started, actually, before I even get here, I'm going to talk about budgeting a little bit. So this is the first step in getting out of the paycheck to paycheck lifestyle, because a budget is a monthly plan that you design for yourself. And again, we're here to help. And in it, you are going to write down how much money you're making, how much money all of your bills are. And by all of your bills, I mean things like your rent, your car payment, Netflix, cell phones, Apple Music, whatever it is that you pay for. You're going to want to get it down on the budget. The budget's going to show you how much money you spend and on what. And this is going to be, again, a plan you decide for yourself, because everybody's different. Everyone's life is different. Everyone makes different amounts of money. Different things are important to different people. And it's important that you decide where your money is going to go, because trust me, if you don't, it's going to be decided for you one way or another. We're either going to spend it all on food, or, it's going to all go to bills and you're never going to have anything left over, or whatever it is. So many times when I say the word budget, people look like they want to run out of the room. And these are some of the reasons that people don't like to budget. They don't like the limits. They feel like they're going to be like, I am not a teenager. I don't need an allowance. I hear that a lot. This is the one I hear probably the most. They're afraid of what they will find. They don't want to know. I get it. I don't own a scale for many reasons. I don't want to know. It's bad. So I get it. Past budget abuse. This is when a partner in a relationship will control the money and not let the other person know what's going on. Let them know, here's $10. This is all you have. Here's $50. Go to the store, get these items, and I want $6 back in change. That is called budget abuse, financial abuse. Unfortunately, it happens. For us women, it has a tendency to happen more to us. A lot more in the past, thankfully, as opposed to now. Because honestly, about 40-something years ago, women couldn't have a bank account on their own. They couldn't get a credit card or a loan on their own. Husband had to sign off on it. That's how the world used to be. Not anymore, thank goodness. Pride is a big one. Budgeting is for poor people. I hear this next thing a lot. I have a good job, I work hard, or I went to college, and I've yet to figure out what that has to do with anything. So did I. Good for you. But again, budgeting is not for poor people. It's not for people that don't make a good living. Budgeting works for everyone. And anyone that successfully budgets will tell you that. Sometimes it's just laziness. We all have things that we're lazy about. I know that there's certainly things I'm lazy about. They may not know how to prepare one, and I'm going to talk you through some of that here tonight. They might have tried budgeting in the past and it did not work. And again, it's kind of like anything, losing weight, getting in shape, whatever. Sometimes you fail before you succeed. Think it'll lead to spousal fighting, and this is huge and understandable that people feel this is going to cause rifts in their partnership, in their marriage. And the truth is, it can, while you're getting it started, if people are not on the same page. It's really important to get on the same page. It's difficult if you can't. What people realize, though, after they successfully get on a budget, a lot of these things that they're afraid of, the reasons that they don't, actually get a lot better. Studies have shown that it leads to much less spousal fighting about money. Money is one of the number one things that causes divorce, or a factor in divorce, or not even just divorce, just fighting in general. Same with people that don't like limits. They don't like to feel controlled. They actually find a budget very freeing because it shows them what they're spending. They make the decision how much they're going to spend on coffee. They make the decision how much they're going to spend on eating out versus the grocery store. All right. So the first step in all of this is getting everything together. So I want you to go ahead and, if I'm assuming when I say this next sentence that people are paying their bills through their checking account, whether it's bill pay, writing out checks, debit card, combination of that. If that's you, what I want you to do is gather 2 to 3 months worth of your checking statements, and you're going to go through that, and you're going to find all of the different things that you pay for on a monthly basis, things like mortgages, car payments, car insurance, utilities, Netflix. So start there. Start with all the things that you pay on a regular basis every month. This is also a good time when you are doing this to really take a look at the different things that you're paying. I actually taught a class yesterday, and a woman, when I was talking about this particular part, a woman was like, "Oh my gosh, it's so funny you said that, because this a couple weeks ago, her and her husband, who have been budgeting for years, really decided to sit down and go through their checking account statements and see if there was any things that they were paying for that they really didn't want to be paying for anymore. And they realized they had some streaming apps. Their kids had done a couple of gaming things that they weren't even using anymore. And they ended up finding about $150 worth of, in her words, junk that it added up. $20 here, $16 here, $30 here. And all of a sudden, they were realizing that this was, $150 worth of stuff that they really didn't need to be spending their money on. So after you've figured out your monthly bills, what I want you to do is grab a calculator and start adding up things like anything you spend your money on that you can see on there. So, okay, I go to Aroma Joe's and drink coffee. Okay, so start figuring out in an average month how much you are spending on coffee. Same thing if you get scratch tickets or cigarettes or whatever it is you spend your money on. You also want to take a look at food. Food, as we all know, is ridiculously expensive these days. And what I suggest people do is figure out how much they're spending at the grocery store for food, and then how much they are spending going out to eat, delivery, DoorDash, that type of stuff. And what's really important when you're doing this part is don't freak out. I like to refer to this as what I call a fact-finding mission. This is a fact-finding mission, folks. So whatever information you have down there, yes, you might want to hurl yourself, under the bed and never come out again because you're so embarrassed. You also might want to wait till he or she comes home. Oh, am I going to share with him? No, this is not what we need to be doing. This is a fact-finding mission, and there's no use crying over spilled milk. My mother used to say this to me all the time. There's no use crying over spilled milk. So this is what this is. You're doing this so that you can make some changes. That's why we're doing this. It's not to upset us. It's not to make us feel bad about ourselves. There's a reason that we're doing this. It's like if you're going to lose weight, you got to know where your starting point is, right? Whether it's I weigh X amount of pounds, or I'm in a size whatever, or I have a, whatever inch waist, whatever it is, you need a starting point. And it's not important how you got there. What's important is the changes you're going to make. So after you have all this information gathered, and I encourage you in the beginning anyway, you can certainly just write this down on a scrap piece of paper, and then you want to figure out, what it is that you have for bills. You want to get it written down. Everyone's financial journey and situation is different. So again, what is going to be important to you might not be important to me, or vice versa. Some of us might want to think about what your goals are. Some of us might want to buy a home someday, or we're sick of, we don't want to be in credit card debt. That's an important goal. Saving for travel, saving for summer camp for your kids, like whatever it is that's important to you, have that factor into your budget. And whether you choose to put this on an Excel spreadsheet like I have, I'm one of those people, if I could put everything on an Excel spreadsheet in life, I would. But this is how I personally do it, but there's not just this way. There are lots of different apps out there. Some are free, some are not. You have some things like Dave Ramsey's Every Dollar app. You also have one that I found that was really cool that's called Envelopes. It's not EMV, it starts with an M, Envelopes. all different ones out there. Many of them, even if they're not free, they have a free trial for a week, 2 weeks, a month. So you can check it out and see if it's something you like if you're a person that really likes apps. But however it is you do it, this is what you want to get put down for yourself. You want to have your income so that you know how much you're playing with every month. And you also want to get all your bills written down. So as you can see on my screen, this person makes $4,500 a month between two income sources. Their mortgage or their rent is $1,800. They have 2 car payments. They have some credit card debt. They have, money they put towards tolls every month, utilities, Netflix, cable, etc. And then you're going to add all of that up. So at the end of it, what you should see is, okay, I am making $4,500 a month. I am spending $3,000. I'm just throwing this number out there in all my bills. If you notice with this, we haven't eaten yet. We haven't done anything fun. We haven't put any money in savings. Those are all the next pieces I want you to do. So first, get all your actual bills written down, and then go and factor in all the other things you spend money on. Again, scratch tickets, cigarettes, eating at the grocery store, eating outside the grocery store. Again, whatever it is you're spending money on. And then do the math. You're going to add up all of your expenses, subtract it by the amount that you make every month, and you'll see where you're at. And this as well is when, again, it can be a very sobering exercise when you say, oh my gosh, I'm spending this much eating outside the grocery store. I'm spending this much on coffee every month. Like, no. And once you know what you are spending, that's when you can figure out what you want to make changes on. And what I suggest to people at this point, if you're looking at this while you're doing it and you're going, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I do that. What you need to think about then is, what is an acceptable amount? If spending $150 a month on coffee is something that you wouldn't even tell your best friend about, what is an acceptable amount? Is it $50? Is it $75? Is it $100? Or are you good with paying $150 a month? You know what? I love my coffee. Not me. I actually don't drink coffee, but many people feel this way. I love my Aroma Joes or my Dunkins, whatever. It gives me a reason to get up in the morning. That's you. That's fine. If that's what you want to spend your money on and you can afford it, that's cool. But now you know. And again, if it's not okay, you can do something about it. So again, be thinking about where you can make cuts. For starters, if you've never used the gym membership or the app that you see on your checking statements, get rid of it. It's just money that you're wasting, right? Anything that you've forgotten about or you're not really using. Food is a place where everyone overspends, and you can't see me right now, but I'm not just raising one hand when I say this. I'm raising 2. This is my number one place that I have spending leaks. We all have them somewhere. So if you're having trouble figuring out paying your bills every month, again, start with the budget and really take a look at the food, because again, almost everyone I know overspends in this area in some way or another. So I mentioned a minute ago, I cannot believe I'm spending this amount of money at Dunkin' Donuts. What is wrong with me? I can't spend $150 a month at Dunkin' Donuts. I think $50 a month is an acceptable amount. So a couple different tricks I will give you to keep yourself on track. One is to actually have cash. So figure out, I get paid twice a month. I'll allot myself $25 a pay period to spend on Dunkin' Donuts. So each month, each week or each pay period, go to the credit union, go to the bank, go to the ATM, whatever, take out $25 in cash, and when you go to Dunkin's, spend that cash. That's it. Put it in an envelope maybe. Don't intermingle it with any other cash you might have. And again, this is your money for coffee. Once it's over, it's over. If you're someone like me that is not good with carrying cash, or maybe works in an environment where they don't want to have cash around for whatever reason, gift cards work really well as a substitute. So instead of getting $25 in cash every pay period, I might go to Dunkin's and get a $25 gift card and use that. And this is a really good way to keep yourself on track, Because again, we can download an app or we can call and get a balance on a debit card. We can physically go into our wallet, our purse, and see that they have $8 left in the Dunkin' Donuts fund. So these are really good ways to keep yourselves on track. I have had a lot of people tell me that this is one of the best piece of advice I've ever given to them. And I give a lot of advice, so that's always good to know. So having a separate checking account for bills. Here's what happens a lot, folks. We might get paid biweekly or weekly, but especially those of us that get paid biweekly, we end up with, when the weeks we get paid, we have quite a bit of money. And maybe, I see this a lot, especially if there's two incomes in the household and they both get paid on the same weeks. And, some weeks you have $3,000 that you make, and the next week you have like $300 or nothing. And what ends up happening is that large dollar amount is almost overwhelming. People aren't able to organize it properly, and they are just like, woo, we can have pizza. We can go out, we can go buy things or whatever. And then all of a sudden they're into the next week and they're like, shoot, like some of the bills got paid, most of them did, but like we have no food in the house. And oh my gosh, the kids, their lunch accounts at school need to be replenished. And so it's really important to get yourself organized with what is going to get paid when you make when your pay comes in. So one of the tips I have for you is to have a separate checking account that's just for bills. And this is, you set this up the way you want to do it. What typically people will do is they'll have their mortgage, their car, their credit cards, utilities, Netflix, cell phone, whatever. All these bills come out of one checking account. And the other checking account is for food, it's for gas, it's for miscellaneous, it's for fun, it's for whatever. And you want to first figure out how much needs to go into your bill account every month. You also need to figure out when these bills are due so that you know exactly what you need to put in your bill account and for when. In a perfect world, you can say, okay, great, I need $3,000 a month for all my bills. The first paycheck of the month, I'll put in $1,500. The second paycheck of the month, I'll put in the other $1,500. But again, that all depends on what your bills are when they're due. Sometimes doesn't work out quite like that. But again, your only money you're going to put in this bill pay account is the money for bills. You're removing it from your other account that has your debit card. So you're not accidentally going to spend the cable money on Chinese food because you've put it in a different place. You're organized now. And again, this can be a huge, huge help with people. It's really hard to look at $3,000 and kind of think about where that's all going to go. But if you know that $1,500 of that, $3,000 or $2,000 of that, $3,000 needs to go into the bill pay account, all right, great. So I just put in $2,000. We have $1,000 left. Yay! Oh, wait a minute. We don't have any money coming in for the next 2.5 weeks. So okay, we got to figure out food. All right. Neither of us have gas. We're both on E right now, or the gas is low, and we're going to need to fill up at least twice more, both of us. So okay, how much are we going to need for that? Okay, the kid's going to, out this weekend with friends. We need to give them $50 for this. It's just a lot easier to deal with a lesser amount, and you can do that knowing that the money for your bills is already set aside. You're not going to have your lights shut off. You're not going to get late fees for your car payment or your credit cards. That money's put aside already. You're good. And again, if anyone wants any help talking through this anymore, please give us a call, 603-224-7731, extension 330, and we can meet one-on-one or talk it through further. I have a lot of people that will tell me as well that they wait until the due date for their bills before they pay them. And what that ends up doing is, unfortunately, a lot of times we end up spending the money accidentally or we forget. So I encourage you again, figure out when your bills, when you're going to have money, when you're going to be paying a certain bill with what paycheck, and then as soon as you get the money, pay it. Some people don't like the second checking account for bills idea, but a lot of people that don't like that, what they tell me they do is they've figured out exactly when they have to pay each thing, and then the second they get paid, they sit down and they pay all of that, and they don't even pick up a debit card or do anything else until all of those checks have cleared or what have you. So that's another great way to do it. But again, you don't need to wait till the due date. And if you're a person that unfortunately struggles to get their bills paid on time, again, this could be another really good step in righting that ship. So don't forget to make savings part of your plan. This is another huge factor in the getting out of paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. And the reason for that is this. If we all of a sudden have something unexpected come up, and such as life, things like a car repair, you want to send a child to camp, or they want to pick up a new sport, or whatever it is. If all of a sudden you need money and you don't have any, what do? Well, you might borrow it from a friend or a family member. You might put it on a credit card. You might decide to pay your car payment late this month, and then, you'll get a late fee on it. So these aren't really good options. I mean, they're options, but they're not the best options. So what I recommend is start saving money so that you can put money away for life's emergencies that come up. So when they happen, you can take the money out of your savings account, not, oh my gosh, we're not going to be able to eat this week. And that's what happens. I have a friend that's a collection agent at a financial institution. And she said it's unbelievable to her when she has to call people because they're behind on their loans, how many times people explain that it was a one-time thing that snowballed on them, a car repair, or you bring your car to be inspected and registered, and you can't get it inspected until you fix this or fix that. So again, it's unbelievable how these things can snowball and quickly. Sub-accounts are another really cool thing to do. So all credit unions have these. Banks usually don't have sub-accounts because at a bank, let me back up. At a credit union, typically you'll have one account number, and under that one account number is your checking, is your savings, is your loans, anything else that you have with that particular bank or credit union. With a bank, typically every account you have is a different number. So your savings has one number, your checking has a different number, your emergency savings has a third number, and what have you, and that's just how it works. So whether you have a bank or a credit union, what is good is to separate accounts so that each account has a specific purpose. So as an example, if you look at the graphic to my right, I have a few different jars here: vacation, car, travel, house. These could be things that you want to save for. So have a certain account for all of these different things. And then you're not upset when you go on vacation and you spend all the money in the vacation account. It's what it's for. But you also are not stressing over, oh my gosh, what happens when I need 2 new tires later this year? I know I'm going to. Well, that's what the car account is for. And you can also see these things, label them what they're for when you're online banking or with the bank or credit union, so that you can see at a glance. Like, I know for me, my birthday's in June, so I know in June what happens on our birthdays. We have to register and inspect our vehicles. I know sort of how much that's going to cost because I know what I spent last year. I don't think I think my car will pass inspection. I have no red flags that I'm aware of. Who knows? But so I can, knowing that number ahead of time, I can figure out, okay, within my car registration inspection fund, this is where, this is how much money I'm going to need, and I'm going to need it by June. So how am I going to get that number to there? Maybe what I do is in January, I say, okay, so if I need $300, just as an example, by June, I have 6 months to do that. So if I do the math there, I figure out per paycheck what I need to put in there. Or maybe you're thinking, I get, commissions or incentives. I get that at quarterly or what have you. So, in my March, so say, we get a quarterly incentive. So say in March, I'm like, perfect. What I'm going to do then is put this money, the $300 worth of, what I got or whatever, I'm going to put it in the account for my car registration. So I talked about a little while ago, making sure that you know when your bills are due so that you know exactly how to organize your second checking account, and a bill pay calendar is a great way to do that. Again, you don't have to do it this way, but I literally took a copy of a calendar and was like, yep, here you go. So you can write down when your deposits are and how much, when your bills are due and how much. So again, you'll be able to figure out from this when you need to pay what. So step 4, if you're not liking what you're seeing, my gosh, I have a lot of debt here, or, we're paying a lot of things. There's options you could have. You're not stuck. There's not just one cell phone provider. There is not just one company that does auto and home insurance. Not even close. You can always shop around. If you have credit card debts, you can absolutely look to make some adjustments there. You could look to see if you can get a debt consolidation loan. You absolutely could look to see if you have equity in your house. Home values are still really high. Maybe do an equity loan to pay off that credit card debt and just pay that every month. There's options you might have. And if you're not sure if you're not sure what any of those are and you want to talk through them a little bit more, again, that's what Kim and my coworker Kim and I do. So give us a call, 603-224-7731, extension 330. So the final thing I wanted to talk about with this concept, and I hope this was helpful for all of you and inspiring in a way. Step 5 is making these changes and staying on track. This is hypothetically the hardest part, because before this, all you've done is some homework, right? I mean, we've all, spent time, filling out paperwork and things like that, and then you just kind of put it aside and you forget about it. Well, the planning is hugely important, and then the real work starts as far as getting it set up. So if you've decided, I'm doing a second checking account for bills, the good news with that is once you've figured out your method, I'm a big fan of set it and forget it. I don't want banking for anyone to be challenging, to be something that they have to think about all the time, that they're constantly worrying about or stressing over. That's not how it needs to be done. It's not how I live my life, and I certainly don't want anyone living that way. But you'll need to spend some time with your money regularly, weekly at first, maybe even bi-weekly eventually, or monthly, to figure out, hey, what are we thinking about for the summer? Like, let's start thinking about that. It's February. Or, hey, I know it's only May, but I was thinking for Christmas this year, maybe we would go away to Disney with the kids. Okay, let's start talking about that now. And even other things all right, how is this going? Do I have enough money in my second checking account? Have I gotten all my bills paid? I'm going to call New Hampshire Federal Credit Union, explore a debt consolidation loan. What was the outcome of that? Communicate with your partner, especially anyone in your household that actively adds to the income. But also maybe even if you have older children, and by older children I mean, teenagers or what have you and older, that are living with you, communicate to them what you're doing, communicate the purpose of it, the goal of it. I thought it was really cool. I had a couple that I was working with, and they had teenage sons. And I thought this was just really cool. They had told me that they had decided that they really wanted to buy a house. They were in an apartment, and their kids, was one of the many reasons they wanted to get a house, but the kids really wanted to get a dog, and they really wanted that. They couldn't where they lived. So they had told the kids that, instead of going out to eat a lot and spending money on this and that, we're going to really buckle down for the next couple of years with the goal that we're going to be, or the next year or whatever, with the goal that we're going to be able to buy a house, and you guys are going to get that dog, and we're going to have that yard that we want, and, the basement where you guys can live, and, and stuff like that. And what was really interesting that I received from feedback from this was, one of the teenagers one night was kind of grumbling to the other one, was like, gosh, I miss pizza night. I guess they used to, every Friday they would go to Domino's or whatever and get pizzas and breadsticks and all these things. And, they weren't doing that anymore because they were saving money. So, it was kind of grumbling. And the other son perked up and was like, I know, but we're going to get that dog. We're going to have a house. It'll all be worth it. And I just thought that was so cool. It gave me chills when I was told that story. And again, it's really helpful to everyone in the household that is either contributing to the income or making sacrifices, whatever it is, for them to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. And again, whether you're using Excel spreadsheets or budgeting apps, whatever it is, however you want to do it, it's fine. Doesn't make a difference one way or the other. They all work. It just depends on how your brain works and how it'll work best for you and your family. And remember that here at New Hampshire Federal Credit Union Center for Finance and Education, we are always here to help you out if needed with financial coaching or just, an email exchange back and forth about clarifying a point, anything like that. So that is my final slide for me tonight. So thank you very much to all of you for listening. If you have any questions, again, please give us a call. We're at 603-224-7731, extension 330. Thank you so much and have a good one. Bye-bye.